Who does the enigmatic mark on the rock belong to? How do antique swords appear? What is the significance of the largest skull in history? What is meticulously concealed in Antarctica? Get ready to uncover the truth. In this episode, prepare to witness the unearthed remains and astounding discoveries that provide compelling evidence for the existence of giants. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on notifications to receive our new videos. A long time ago, in the depths of the desert, a group of archaeologists and paleontologists went to search for many mysteries, but what they found turned out to be more exciting than they had imagined. After several weeks of research and multiple excavations, the scientists found an unusual bone structure. The bone was much larger than all the previous bones. It was the skull of a gigantic creature that cannot be compared to anything already known. People thought this was evidence of the existence of a highly advanced ancient civilization. They began to study the skull and its remains, hoping to find answers to all questions. The analysis of the DNA from this skull indicates that the creatures were extremely ancient and may have perished thousands of years ago. Consequently, the unidentified creatures are believed to be highly advanced. It is possible that they had a comprehensive understanding of life on Earth and found a concealed refuge, perhaps in a remote mountain or an inaccessible cave. Do you believe in the existence of giants? Now, let me tell you about another fascinating discovery that took place in Thailand in 2017. In this country, a 5-meter-long skeleton of an unknown person was found in one of the ancient caves. Scientists had heard rumors about giant ancient inhabitants, but they were skeptical. However, the archaeologists were astonished when they saw the discovery with their own eyes. The locals were proven right by time and a game of chance, showing that once upon a time in the past, real giants lived there. It's unlikely that an ancient man accidentally grew 2.5 times taller than his relatives, isn't it? It's also strange that the existence of giants is being refuted by science. Until now, scientists have been confident that there are no human beings of this size that still preserve our features. They suggest that either these were wild animals or beings from another planet. However, the remains tell a different story. The skeleton belongs to a human being. What's interesting is that scientists have determined the cause of death. A large snake coiled around the skeleton, leaving behind bone remains. Investigators believe that a sharp stone was used to strike the reptile's skull. The man who was attacked by the snake was able to kill the animal after it bit him, but he ultimately died from the snake's poison. Some people think the story is fake and just for show, due to the rarity of the situation. Additionally, there are theories that someone made a doll to mock investigators, while others believe the complexity of the doll was quickly recognized in this case. The scientists are still determining the age of the bones, which indicates that they are seeking the truth. The official data is still unclear, prompting us to consider the situation as somewhat eerie or even frightening at times. If the data were fabricated, we would have uncovered it by now, but the authorities are still examining the skeleton. This may be due to the immense scientific value they believe it holds. We assume giants existed. There would likely be other discoveries related to their lives, such as homes, beds, or huge tools. Did you know that in a Japanese temple, the amazing sword of Norimitsu Odachi is carefully preserved? This sword raises a lot of questions and wonder. For instance, what kind of person could have carried it effectively? The sword is about 4 feet long, which is quite large for a human battle, and it weighs about 14 kilograms. This makes it difficult for anyone to use, no matter how strong they are. There are different theories about this. Some people believe that ancient swords were specifically made for giant defenders who protected the world. These swords were imbued with magic and special techniques to make them more powerful and efficient, capable of defeating any evil spirit. A blow to the neck would send evil creatures to hell without them ever returning. The large size of these swords reflected the immense power of the giants. These weapons weighed around 15 kilograms, which was considered normal. The legend tells us that 5-meter-tall giants could easily wield such royal swords, too heavy for ordinary workers. They were not limited to using just the longsword. They could move, jump, and maneuver quickly. Sometimes they were so heavy that they left traces on the ground, one of which caught human attention. It was discovered near Japan in South Africa. Its length is more than a meter, which makes us think about larger creatures. There is a possibility. Intriguingly, he is completely unrelated to the enormous samurai from Japan. There was someone bigger and stronger living in Africa, and it's unclear whether he was good or evil. In my opinion, when I hear about a similar discovery made by scientists, the first thing that comes to mind is the potential for a significant advancement in human development at that time. But what happens? The government of the country where the discovery was made decides to shut down the area, conduct private research, and keep the details under wraps. For over 10 years, authorities in other countries have generally remained neutral on this issue. This raises concerns that global authorities are complicit and prefer to avoid informing civilians about immediate and important matters to prevent protests or labor unrest. I don't understand why scientists and others in their field do not acknowledge the existence of giants. We know that creatures in the past were much larger than they are now, and this could also relate to humans. It is not difficult to imagine an ancient giant 5 meters tall, considering that the tallest man in the world weighed about 200 kilograms and was about 3 meters tall. Robert Wadlow the giant was born in the year 1918. Unfortunately, he did not live long, only 22 years. What is surprising is that his parents were normal and did not have any abnormalities in their blood. From an early age, the boy made it clear that he was no different from others. At 4 years old, he started growing rapidly, which attracted public attention. By the age of 8, he was already 188 centimeters tall. At 9 years old, he was strong enough to carry his father. By the time he was 10, he reached a height of 198 centimeters and weighed 100 kilograms. When he reached adulthood, he wore shoes of size 37 AA, which made him locally famous. As a result, he received free clothing. Throughout his studies, it was amusing to compare his size with that of his classmates. After graduating, Wadlow joined the circus and traveled the world, as he was in high demand. This man earned a good amount of money to support himself and his family. However, his rapid growth led to limited sensitivity in his legs, requiring him to use crutches. He also became ill and needed a blood transfusion. Unfortunately, he passed away in his sleep before he could undergo an operation. Tens of thousands of Americans attended his funeral to support his family. His coffin, which was more than 3 meters long and weighed half a ton, was carried by 12 people. At the family's request, his grave was thoroughly covered with concrete to prevent any disturbances. But Robert wasn't the only giant. There's another person who claims to be the last representative of the Akazukan Chacha tribe. Here, we can see him moving through the crowd, resembling a sumo wrestler at a school assembly. It seems that these shots are the only significant records of the last member of the tribe that supposedly lived on one of the Japanese islands. The video was created in the early 19th century and presented a biblical depiction of a giant Nephilim. This seemed strange, but it became unreasonable to continue supporting it when it was quickly revealed to be fake. The footage showed an old Japanese man who, in 2007, despite the truth being known by academics, they were still so convinced of their theory that they continued to support it. Sometimes, people may be so sensitive to their emotions that they deliberately ignore all the clear signs and perceive falsehoods as truths. The story takes place in the mid-19th century in a remote part of New York. 2 laborers were digging a well at the request of a farmer on his piece of land. While one of the men left to purchase building materials, upon his return, he was left speechless and amazed. All the neighbors gathered in the courtyard of his house because a mysterious giant had been found there, specifically a leg. The discovery sparked their interest, and they expected to uncover the entire body soon. When the discovery was made, it would surely astonish everyone with its enormity. The stone body resembled that of a human, but its size was so unnatural that it led people to think the opposite. The giant was lying on its back, with its right hand resting on its stomach. The stone giant stood at a height of 3 meters, with rough facial features and a posture that indicated a painful death. His body was crooked, and his hand was tense. The news of the discovery spread worldwide, prompting a flurry of activity. Reports and interviews poured in, with questions about the land's history and previous ownership. The clever man seized the opportunity to profit from it all, charging 25 cents to those who wanted to see the giant. He strictly prohibited strangers from entering his property. He also stopped giving interviews. When news of this spread throughout America, a banker bought the giant's body for $37,000 and brought it to the city, intending to place it in the museum. As a result, the price of admission rose to $1, but this didn't deter visitors. Everyone was interested in the giants and how they looked. However, scientists later revealed that it was likely all fake. An examination from just 1 meter away showed clear signs of professional carving. The demand for admission, however, did not decrease. There is no doubt that the Americans were certain that it was a giant. Everything collapsed literally within a split second, and the previous owner of the body confessed. It was fake. A long time ago, he had ordered 2 sculptures to be made. He wanted to prove that it was easy to fool people. In the end, his greed prevailed and pushed him to take advantage of the simplicity of the local people. Now I will share another story about giants, which is equally exciting but not confirmed. The story comes from San Diego, America, where trained archaeologists discovered a unique mummy in one of the nearby caves. What made it unique was its height, which exceeded 270 centimeters. If this is real, it would validate the legends about giant Indians from ancient times, indicating that other stories from the same sources may also be accurate. The mummy was sent for experimentation to authenticate its origins. The confirmation came from the Department of Prehistoric Anthropology. The locals, believing that our humanity had entered a new round of development, began visiting all the exhibitions that included displays. They paid a lot and were happy with these offers. However, it soon became clear that people had been deceived. It was proven that the mummy was not real, despite initial claims. This revelation was conveyed through a rude and provocative message in newspapers by the owners of the body. Yes, I understood the matter well. The mummy was purchased from San Diego for a large sum of money. It was examined and proven to be a fake. It soon became clear that the institute that examined it had been invented to ensure its authenticity. The first time the mummy was tested, the truth was misleading. The public was deceived twice. The story's origins are unclear. There are several theories related to this mummy, but no specific conclusion has been reached. Some believe it is real, while others consider it a big fraud. Now, this is Antarctica, and everything about it is no joke. It's only famous on paper because no one lives there, and many people don't know what it's really like. However, it's still interesting because the mysterious theories related to it continue to amaze us. One of these theories is about its great inhabitants, both literally and figuratively. A group of researchers from around the world has discovered stasis chambers containing sleeping giants. These giants have been asleep for hundreds of years, and the melting ice is bringing their chambers closer to thawing. As a result, we may soon encounter these giants. We can only speculate about what might happen if they awaken. They could help humanity progress to a new level, or possibly pose a threat to us. Now let's shift our focus from the giants to the astonishing discoveries that have stunned archaeologists worldwide. To witness one of these remarkable discoveries, we'll need to travel to Italy. While many people may associate Italy with beautiful landscapes, romantic music, and charming streets, our interest lies elsewhere. We'll explore an ancient cemetery where researchers recently made significant findings. The remains of a man with a stone in his mouth may not seem unusual to the uninformed, but in historical context, it signifies a ritual believed to have been performed in ancient times for protection against the deceased. According to sacred texts, this practice aimed to prevent potential harm from individuals who may have been considered vampires or infected. The person would have been buried alive and had a stone placed in his mouth to reduce the chances of escape and to contain any potential threat. It's unclear whether these beliefs were based on reality, or if they were the result of misconceptions due to a lack of knowledge at the time. The next strange discovery is a 15-centimeter-long skeleton found in the Atacama Desert. It's unclear what kind of creature it could belong to, as it doesn't resemble a typical animal skeleton. Despite its small size, the skeleton appears to be that of an adult. Initially believed to be a mutant or alien trick, causing confusion among scientists, the surprising truth later emerged. It was discovered by a simple treasure hunter in the abandoned mining village of Lenoria, known for its rock salt mining. The village was deserted in the 1950s due to the depletion of sediments. Someone started a rumor that 2 boxes of looted jewels were buried in the local cemetery. A man went exploring, but the promised treasure was not found. However, people's attention was caught by the Atacama skeleton, also known as Ata, named after the local Atacama Desert. Initially, scientists thought it was a common trinket and sold it to a man for a few dollars. The man then resold the find for approximately $200,000. The wealthy man encountered strange events in his house at night when he was alone. He heard loud footsteps and incomprehensible muttering in an ancient language. Unable to bear the situation, he chose to donate the doll to a group of researchers for free. The true nature of the entity is still unconfirmed, leading to speculation among conspiracy theorists that it may be a peculiar skeleton. There's a theory that suggests it could be the remains of a suffering child, experiencing rapid, unnatural aging. The scariest version suggests that it is the mummy of one of the enchanted ancient people who was cursed, not only throughout his life, but also for thousands of years after his death. Guinean warriors used bone daggers in hand-to-hand combat until the end of the last century. Papuans favored them as well, as they made it easier to immobilize their opponents, making them easy targets. The daggers were made from bird hip bones, but recent archaeological findings suggest they were actually made from human bones, specifically those of defeated enemies. These bones were not buried, but rather used to create daggers, and owning one made a person very respectable. The hunters who owned these daggers were seen as having defeated someone, and the daggers were found to be more effective in combat due to their natural bone curvature. An eerie incident occurred involving American paranormal researchers who attempted to create a 3D replica of a mysterious artifact, but were unsuccessful as the materials mysteriously caught fire. It seems as though the statue is protected by forces from another world, forbidding anyone from making contact with it. As I mentioned earlier, it pertains to the enigmatic statue. This is no ordinary statue. It is a small figure with a rope around its neck and haunting eyes. Connected with rusty nails, this old wooden statue was found by 2 ordinary tourists. One of them even wanted to take it home, as expected. After he did that, he immediately began to complain about the sounds in his room and the strange phenomena in the house in general. The man quickly got rid of it and took it to paranormal investigators. They confirmed its peculiarity by the fact that no matter where it is placed, if left unobserved, it will promptly relocate to another location where it will be noticed. But this is just the start. Everyone who touched the doll started seeing a scary silhouette at night that looked like a wet, naked old woman with burning eyes for feet. It was all very strange, and people didn't know how to make it stop. The scientists were frightened until one of them suggested returning the doll to where they found it. The scientists visited the man, and he took them to a mysterious cave where he found the doll. They returned it, and the nightmare ended. Do you think this story is true? Or could he have bewitched the doll to the point that the curse lasted for centuries? Let me know in the comments. Researchers in Peru discovered skulls with a strange shape that resembled the monster from the movie Alien. These skulls were similar to human skulls but larger, heavier, and more elongated, raising many questions. If someone were asked to draw an alien, they would likely sketch a figure with an elongated and large head. This speculation about resemblance is being widely discussed on television, the internet, and in print media. This topic has gained significance to the point where even human evolution is being questioned. As often happens, the most intriguing questions and concepts are right in front of us, yet often overlooked. In 1963, a citizen from Cappadocia began rebuilding his house. As he was demolishing one wall after another, he suddenly felt something strange. The material collapsed easily, as if there was nothing behind it. While he was sorting through the rubble, the man was speechless to find a tunnel in front of him. He embarked on an exploratory trip and discovered that it was a passageway to one of the ancient underground cities. Cappadocia is home to dozens of these cities, with Derinkuyu being the largest. Some archaeologists speculate that the city may have as many as 20 levels. However, less than half of the entire city has been explored. Scientists are still determining how the ancients constructed it. Based on the age of the building, it is believed that these events occurred in the 1st-2nd millennium BC. According to official history, there was no such technology available at that time. It is also hard to imagine how anyone could have lived there. Perhaps the city was a permanent residence for some people who went to the surface to harvest, or it was used in the event of an attack, or it wasn't a place where people lived at all. Given its age and complexity, the structure creates real disagreement among scholars. Some believe that ancient people lacked the technology to build it and speculate that it may have been constructed by a highly advanced civilization or even by aliens. One day, scholars discovered Ulfbert's swords that were used by the Franks, Vikings, and other peoples from the 9th to the 11th centuries. These swords were as strong as modern steel. While blacksmiths in other regions made swords that could break on impact, these swords could withstand the force. In front of every known test, about 170 swords have been discovered. There is an image that suggests these swords were made by advanced beings who wanted to aid various nations. Legend has it that when people were in peril, a god appeared to assist them and presented them with a sword that could defeat any adversary. The theory of the gods may seem questionable, but it remains almost the only logical option. The truth is that in the process of forging iron, the ore had to be heated to 1,650 degrees Celsius to remove excess impurities. In ancient times, no one was able to obtain this temperature, yet they were still able to make swords. The ruins of Atlit were discovered 12 meters deep in the Mediterranean Sea, off the coast of Palestine south of the city of Haifa. Researchers believe they have found an underwater city from the Neolithic era, possibly one of the largest underwater settlements ever discovered. The exploration uncovered ruins of houses, wells, human remains, and animals, as well as artifacts and mysterious structures dating back thousands of years. The most impressive feature was the pit, which was used as a site for rituals. It was surrounded by stones, and its center used to be a natural spring. Scientists also found over 60 places where human remains were buried. However, these remains are significant as they helped scientists identify early cases of tuberculosis. This information could have a profound impact on the history of medicine. Animal bones were also found nearby, including the bones of wild creatures as well as domestic animals. This discovery will help scientists gain a better understanding of the ancient civilization and its way of life. It is possible that they raised animals for food during that time. Two teenagers were enjoying their school vacation. They decided to try magnet fishing as a unique activity, hoping to find valuable items like jewelry, coins, ancient artifacts, or even a hand with a watch. It's a mystery how such an item ended up underwater. Could it be the hand of a mysterious creature, or does the watch have a secret history? In any case, discovering the truth about this hand could shed light on earlier events in this area. Whose hand do you think it is? Share your guesses in the comments. In the waters near Greece, there is a well-preserved underwater structure that has caught the attention of divers. These divers have uncovered ancient pottery, leading them to believe that this sunken city, Pavlopetri, was a center for both land and sea trade. Researchers estimate that Pavlopetri is 1,000 years older than many other submerged ancient sites. The city's remote location helped shield it from looting and damage. Thanks to the discovery of ceramics and numerous artifacts, scientists have started to investigate the people who lived there and the historical timeline of the area. This remarkable find has the potential to reshape our understanding of history significantly. A river below the sea? When you hear this phrase, you might picture an unknown river on a map located under the sea. This is a logical assumption, but in this case, I'm referring to an actual river that exists beneath the real sea. This phenomenon is found in the Black Sea region, where an entire ecosystem exists at the river's bottom. Unexplored with its rapids and waterfalls, no matter how ridiculous it may sound, the truth is that the water in the river is saltier and therefore denser than the surrounding water. The high salinity allows this water to flow through the sea and thus form a river. The river that the men found under the sea was also the 6th largest river in the world in terms of water flow. As for the discovery itself, it certainly put scientists in a difficult position because studying the river under the sea could be crucial to understanding the Earth's oceans as a whole. This discovery could help scientists better understand underwater life and the different conditions that allow it to occur. Many people dream of finding a place like Atlantis, a mysterious and hidden land. However, a similar and equally fascinating place called Doggerland has been discovered. Doggerland is a large piece of land that was submerged over 8,500 years ago, according to scientists, when it was above sea level. The region, stretching from Scotland to Denmark, used to be inhabited by mammoths. Later, humans arrived, and, as often happens, the environment was ultimately destroyed, and the land became submerged. When scientists found this area, they called it the true heart of Europe. Although not the actual Atlantis, this underwater world is still intriguing due to its unusually large size. Don't assume that all amazing discoveries in history are only found underwater. Archaeologists explore the land day and night, so stay tuned for some incredible discoveries on land. In 2017, German scientists made an incredible discovery. They obtained a 10-million-year-old ancient tooth, significantly older than any other previously found. This finding raises the possibility of re-evaluating the current theories of human origins, as the tooth's unusual shape and other distinct features challenge existing beliefs. Additionally, this discovery may support the idea that the first humans may have originated in Europe rather than Africa, potentially changing our understanding of human evolution. Mexico recently shared with the world around 150 different artifacts from ancient rituals that had been untouched in local caves for thousands of years. Specifically, the treasure was discovered in one of the Palmaco caves in the Yucatan Peninsula. The majority of the findings were pottery vessels and an image of an ancient local deity. The local residents were the first to find the cave with all the artifacts. However, when the archaeologists arrived, they decided to seal off the entrance and exit. The reason for this decision is unknown. The Palmaco cave is expected to provide valuable insight into the history of the rise and fall of the ancient city of Chichen Itza. This is not the end of the exciting excavations. There is also something interesting about Peru. Archaeologists found a mass grave containing 140 individuals and 200 llama sacrifices dating back to the 15th century. According to researchers, This discovery suggests that special rituals were performed by the Incan people. They said that they were trying to appease the gods after heavy rains and floods. They were all representatives of different tribes. That is, they came from different parts of the Old Kingdom. According to archaeologists, they had never encountered anything like this before. The bodies were laid to rest next to the llama in a specific arrangement on a low cliff by the ocean. The discovery could potentially reshape our understanding of the ancient Indian people and their customs. In the fall of 2018, archaeologists found a tomb in Egypt that belonged to the high priest and is over 4,500 years old. The cemetery is located near the capital of Egypt and is adorned with colorful hieroglyphs, statues of the pharaohs, and frescoes depicting the deceased and his family. The tomb is quite large, measuring 3 meters high and 10 meters long. If researchers can decipher all the writings and drawings and understand the meaning of the artifacts, this discovery may provide valuable insights into ancient Egyptian culture. The terracotta army consists of thousands of life-sized clay statues of soldiers, chariots, and horses. It appears that the army was created to safeguard the tomb that encloses it. Uncovered in 1974, this site has provided modern scholars with valuable insights into ancient Chinese warfare, shedding light on everything from weaponry and armor to chariots and military organization.